Mark Kaler at the end of last year for the British title is determined to succeed eventually in this division. Certainly is a star-studded division, isn't it? And realise his full potential. Well, today he was due to face the ranked American Sean Mannion, but Mannion has been injured and his place has been taken at the last minute by Adam George, another American, who is going to be a tough opponent, I'm quite sure, because George has fought once in this country already. You may have seen him on a Saturday afternoon on ITV in November from Cardiff. He actually got a decision, a very narrow decision, over the British light middleweight champion, Prince Rodney. Well, the fighters are in the ring, so let us now rejoin our ringside partnership of Jim Watts and leading off, Reg Guthridge.
So there you are then, as Christie in the white trunks really warming up now. And there's the rundown of his career, of course. Lost to Joseph Sayes of Belgium and then Mark Kaler, but 22 good wins and 20 of those inside the distance. And as Adam George, as Dickie was saying, he defeated Prince Rodney at Cardiff, all the way from Lafayette, Louisiana. And fighting well recently, had a good draw with Anthony Wiley, who's now been matched with Tommy Hearns. So over to MC Mike Shinfield then for the official introductions.
Now, gentlemen, please. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the joint main event on this afternoon's programme. Frank Warren presents an international middleweight contest sponsored by Croxley Script over 10 3-minute rounds. Presenting and introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Louisiana, USA, Adam George. And from Coventry, ladies and gentlemen, Errol Christie. At the weigh-in today, George scaled 11 stones 3 pounds, Christie 11 stones 4 pounds. The referee for this contest, Mr. Roland Dakin. Timekeeper, Mr. Danny Peacock.
So referee Roland Dakin then, having handled a championship fight, is now in what obviously Christie thinks is going to be a potential champion. And there he is, he's really working himself up. He's set his discipline in his mind well, not that he hasn't done in the past, but more so now. And although Adam George is a substitute for Sean Mannion, who's got a dislocated wrist apparently, he's been in good form recently, put on weight since he fought Rodney. 10 stone 12 that was. He's now 11-3. He's in the full middleweight division. In fact, he's now rated still in the light middles by the World Boxing Council at number 17. And at the middleweight, the World Boxing Council have got Christie at 19. But of course, British European champion Harold Graham and Mark Kaler quite high in those WBT ratings. What a good start by Christie. The quickest win has been 36 seconds against Cecil Pettigrew. But he'll do well to take this fellow as quickly as that, because he took Prince Rodney's punches well and came back. And he said he likes fighting in Britain too. Well, I can't blame him. It was a close fight and he got the verdict, so he knew he wasn't jobbed or robbed, as they say in the fight trade. So Christie's had 2 fights since he lost that very memorable fight of the year by the Board of Control on Fireworks Night last year with Mark Kaler. He's beaten Carlton Warren and Hunter Clay, both in London. So at 23, there's a certain maturity now showing in Christie's boxing. Adam George a year older, but only 1 loss on his record and 1 draw. He's come out looking for a quick win by Jim Christie, hasn't he?
Yeah, Christie has taken charge right from the start. He's not got through with too many clean shots, but George, as we've seen already, not a bad performer. Errol still has all the punching power and all the ability, but his confidence took a terrible knock after the Kaler fight, and I think he just has to get his confidence back again before we see him back at his best.
Win or lose, Christie's always very entertaining to watch. Certainly was as an amateur. 11 amateur titles went into the Guinness Book of Records. Well, Adam George knows exactly the problems he's got in front of him here as we get the countdown clock for the opening round. But although Anthony Wiley doesn't mean much to you, get a draw with him recently. George was a good performance. As I say, Wiley's been matched with Tommy Hearns. So there's Christie then. He's really become very much a seasoned pro now. As Jim Watt said, he's cried as much as his chin was hurt in the fight against Mark Kaler. There's so much hype, as you know, before that one. And who knows, they may meet again sometime. And the way they were up and down like yo-yos, you never really could predict a result in a return. 20 stoppages out of 24. There's Adam George. And Gary Davidson, the mine host down at the Thomas of Becket pub in London, is working that because Ben Babineau, on the outside of the ropes, well, it's a bit of a job to get his 24 stone in the ring in a hurry, so he doesn't mind doing the towel flapping.
Round 2.
Into the second round then of a scheduled 10 at the middleweight limit. 11-4 Christie, 11-3 George. Makes a change to carry his own caption for us, Christie. As I say, very much a showman. Stands up sometimes with a yachting cap and a carnival whistle. And you always swear that the photographers have planted them on him, but nope, that's the way he knocks around occasionally. We've seen Christie from the start, you and I, Jim, on ITV, and almost watching him grow up before our eyes, really, at 23, haven't we now? He's got very mature. Yeah, that's true. In his early career, we sometimes feared that maybe the opposition wasn't stiff enough to bring him on. But this is a good quality opponent this afternoon. He hasn't really thrown much back at Christie yet. I think he's maybe hoping to get a few rounds by and hope Christie will slow down a bit. He's obviously heard of Christie's reputation. But Christie's doing fine, keeping him under pressure and letting the punches go as soon as he sees a chance. No, slip and a little bit of embarrassment there by Christie. No need to wipe gloves. They very seldom use the old-fashioned rosin dust in the corner now because the boxers wear rubber soles. Used to wear the leather soles, of course, in bygone days. Slings that punch hard to the ribs, actually, Christie. Maybe George going up from light middle to full middle now is realising that the opposition hits that much harder, and maybe he hasn't carried his punch with him through one division to the other. His record suggests he's very much a survivor, George, and I think he may have to prove it here. Boxes with his mouth open as though he's got signs of distress the whole time, but we saw that with Prince Rodney. Very mobile this afternoon, Christie really is. He's dropping punches in from all angles. And I tell you, he's got a good chance of stopping George now. Stuck my chin out as much as Adam George has been doing, and we would certainly have been wrong in the Prince Rodney fight because he didn't look too good at the start of that one and finished up winning, but by only half a point, one round. Oh, he started to open up again here now, the American. First time. Laces coming a bit loose. There you are, the wide angle so that we can have a look at the manager in the red shirt. As I say, I wasn't kidding when I said he's slightly overweight and loves it here. And they're just tucking the lace in there. Gary Davidson, the former bantamweight from South London, amateur and pro. And, just making sure that's back in again. Don't want the contest stopped midway through the round if we can help it. a regular trainer. He's swapped about a bit, actually, but Davis is back in there with him in the old middleweight, Fort Mark Rowe & Co. So the final word from Don Davis then to Christie. Round 3. Nice bit of rhythm in Christie's boxing. He's good with both hands. Often boxers favour one kind of style. Of course, at one time Christie was a good left-hand jabber, which is sort of amateur, boxing the European juniors and won them. But now he's pro-taught. He's really throwing them in with both hands from all angles. And had a time, of course, in America with the Emmanuel Stewart camp, Tommy Hearns and Mike McCallum and co. in Detroit. So all the grounding is there. It's now up to Christie to start making the championship grade now. Slipped against Kayla, and he knows it, but the pay was good. Just luckily backing away a bit, George, when he catches that long right hand. It's if he stops still, he'll get caught, though.
Yeah, but I think this is what George is good at. He's done this once or twice before. All times he's keeping his eye on Christie, waiting to see first of all what's coming towards him before he thinks about his own onslaught. And he's just doing a kind of survival job at the moment. That one was a bit closer from Christie.
Well, it certainly turned out a very respectable substitute for Sean Mannion. Obviously a disappointment because Sean Mannion had fought for the Championship of the World against Mr. Hamsho. I should say Mike McCallum, but it was on the bill that Hamsho fought Hagler. Oh, good punches inside there. When Christie does that, he really has got some variety in his punches, Jim, hasn't he?
Yeah, he seems to have most of his confidence back. This is the way we're used to seeing him. I was quite surprised they weighed in at 11 stone 4, because not so long ago we were speaking, thinking he would be busy doing middleweight. So he seems to have himself slimmed down and stayed that way.
Yeah, 11.6 middleweight, and sometimes, if I remember, he was above that, wasn't he? Well, he's having to track Adam George the whole time there as he inside the last half minute of this round. Oh yes, he just fell forward and paid for that, George. It's unusual the way he keeps his mouth open the whole time, doesn't he, the American?
Yeah, it's a bit dangerous if he catches a clean one on the chin. George is very difficult to catch with clean punches.
So it's a bit warm inside the big top here at Hemel Hempstead, so you can imagine how this fellow's feeling, throwing punches there and really sweating profusely. And of course the whistles are not of derision of the fight, but in appreciation of some of the scenery walking around here. Miss Vicky from Leeds. So replay now then, and the referee closing right on there and making sure that he doesn't hold on. And you've got an idea, I think, of the eye for the punch. See how he's looking for it there, Christie. That's what he's got at.
Get it up. Round 4.
Round 4. And Adam George from Louisiana is giving Christie a go. He's, as Jim Watt says, he's a good survivor, a bit cagey, but Christie well on top. No judges, of course, in a non-championship fight anyway, but certainly not in British boxing. Only European and World Championships. So Roland Daking from Berkshire is in command. He had a distance fight 10 rounds at the Royalty Theatre last April, Christie, so he had the experience of long distance then. And he stopped Carlton Warren in the 4th at Alexander Palace, and he put up a good show. He had to give a weight away in that fight, Christie. He's just got to edge himself closer now, Christie. He's just stretching the punches to get to him. Occasionally, he'll shoot the punch to the body, which has been very good.
See, I think his problem this afternoon, George is a master at defence, just keeping his chin out of harm's way, just stepping back when an opponent comes in.
Yeah, there's an example, Jim, slipping and sliding like a good one there, and reminding Christie that he's still there. Now, he came on against Prince Rodney like that, when we all started to, well, half write him off. He came back in the picture. So he's trying to stalk him around the whole time now, Christie. He realises he's got this, the elusive Pimpernel in front of him there. Now you can see why he's only had 1 loss and 1 draw on a record of 24 fights.
I think Christie's going to have to try to draw. I think Christie's going to have to draw the lead from George and counter, because whenever Christie leads off, George either has his hands up or his chin pulled out of harm's way. A very difficult opponent, but I think Christie's going to have to try something else.
Oh, yes, he almost got him on the ropes there, but he used him as a bit of a catapult at the end of the round. Well, I don't think you need to say much, really, Jim, in Adam George's corner there at all. Big Ben Babineau is probably thinking about his next meal as well, although I don't mean to imply that this fella's his meal ticket, because he isn't. In fact, it's almost a hobby with the big manager, and pays for his wife to come with him as well. But it's Gary Davidson who's doing the wash and brush up treatment in George's corner there. He's 24 years old. And there he is. Looks like he's giving him a short back and sides in the barber shop, doesn't he, with the manager flapping the towel. What sort of things they'd be saying now, Jim, in this corner, Christie's?
Well, he's been doing everything right, but nothing seems to be working for him. He's winning the fight easily, but he can't land a clean punch. He's have to try to draw some punches, some leads from George, and counter when his chin's exposed.
Round 5. And Christie comfortably in front. But just finding Adam George a slippery opponent. Somebody who looks like he could stay all night. Good stamina. And if Christie was looking, and he seemed to be looking at the start for a quick win, that's already been written off. So it's good to see a worthy opponent come in, and particularly as a substitute in the last few days. Christie certainly looks different from the raky kid who at 17 boxed in the ABA final against Stuart Lithgow. Or was it Cameron Lithgow? I've forgotten. One of the Lithgows, I think. Cameron? Yeah. What a good fight that was. So you knew then at that age he was going to be the goods, but he's developed now physically. I dare say, you know, some of the boxing followers would be saying, well, if Christie's that good, he should be stopping this fellow. But you've got to respect the American's record. That's what it's about. He's been in with equally good fighters and stayed in there with him. So don't knock Christie for that. If he does it, that's a bonus.
I think Christie's decided to settle down and wait till the chance comes rather than go hunting for it. bit more success actually in this round. But he doesn't seem in so big a hurry now, Christie. He's waiting his time, just hoping for the target to come to him, I think, which may be a good idea.
Well, he's having a tough time finding that opening, Jim, isn't he? As you say, he's got to bide his time a little bit. He's tried everything else.
See, he's in a strange situation, Reg. He's doing everything right. He's keeping his opponent under pressure. The last thing you want him to do is take silly chances and do silly things for the sake of trying to score a knockout. He has to keep his composure, keep in mind that he's learning all the time, and he'll be in with better opponents, so won't allow him to take chances. So he's as well doing what he's doing, winning the rounds, and just keep the big right hand ready in case maybe the target shows itself.
Right hand punch to the ribs, just above the commentary position there. Really is a good punch from Christie. So totting up the scores again there, Roland Dakin. Half-point margins. If the boxer wins very clearly, they can go the full point. And of course, you top them up plus on each round. He hasn't got to add them up at the end. He will know by the end of the ninth, assuming it goes the full distance, exactly who's got the plus marks on each round. So the overhead replay there. And again, trying the right hand, Christie. And this is where he did have him on the run, but he slid off the ropes well, George. So in the warmth, as I say, of this big top tent that Hamill said he could do with the ice pack on his neck.
Pick it up. Round 6.
And into the 6th round. Just to update you then of well captioned in the white trunks, there's Errol Christie from Coventry, actually living in London most of the time now, and Adam George of Lafayette in Louisiana. Christie ahead okay, but no knockdowns, and he's found the American a really slippery character, and proved his ability by coming last time in Cardiff and outpointing then light middleweight champion Prince Rodney. Very fit, Christie. He's always been very mobile and going fast. But of course, with so many quick wins in the past, when the opposition does strengthen up a bit, then it isn't always easy to turn them over. You've got to be exceptional to do that in a fight game. Well, I hope Christie doesn't run out of ideas, Jim. As you say, he's doing what he has to do, and it's working for him.
Yeah, it's working for him if he's going to go home happy with a points win, and I don't suppose there's any reason why he shouldn't. But it's always difficult when you're in with a negative opponent who's not really trying to win. I mean, I haven't even given George a share of any of the rounds. Christie's won every round as far as I'm concerned. And it's always difficult to land clean punches when the opponent is just thinking about defence all the time.
Certainly the referees had nothing to do but walk around and keep away from the out of the picture, as they say. A sign of a good referee, heard and not seen. Well, it's caused a bit of alarm at the back of the tent here, I must say. A little uppercut coming in from George, but I think that was ignored a bit by Christie. So into the last half minute then of the 6th. And Jim Watt and I said from the start what a durable character George is. Ignore the fact he fights with his mouth open as though he's nobody knows the troubles he's seen, but it's just his manner of fighting. And he certainly earned enough out of the fight game to give up a little bit of dishwashing, he was telling me, in Louisiana. Davidson, as I say in the ring there, has become a full-time agent for visiting boxers, mostly now on the Frank Warren Promotions. So he sort of tends to their knees and explains the slight differences in rules from American to British, and to make sure that they know what it's all about here. So they can't go back and say, well, nobody told us so-and-so.
Talk about.
I hope that's not the mustard for his hamburger, Jim, that he keeps pouring all over him. Every time I see him, he's got one as a manager, but I think it might be the water bottle.
Check it out. Round 7.
Into the 7th. And Errol Christie from Coventry then. Very confident performance, but a very good show, although it's currently losing one by Adam George of America. So his manager's wife, Adam George, is just giving him a bit of encouragement, but I must say the crowd have been very fair and given a fair welcome when he got into the ring. It's always nice to see. See, there's always a bit of fight left, isn't there, Adam George? You're wondering if he's going to fall away at all. He doesn't. He keeps coming back.
I think the problem is he doesn't come back often enough. He's been too negative all the way through.
Well, he showed that punch and then threw it, and Adam George didn't mind. And land right on the point of the jaw with that. You never know what's going to happen.
Go get him. Come on, go get him.
Well, assuming that Christie's going on to win this contest, and it certainly looks that way. Apparently Sean Mannion is still contracted to come here, Galway born, and fought for the championship and now lives around the Boston area. And when his hand has recovered, managed by Angelo Dundee, he said he's coming back as soon as he can to face Christie. But with 3 rounds just to go, he's got to make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes now, Christie. And in this business, you know, it's been known to happen many times. Just stepping up the pace, Christie. Very frustrating man to fight, Adam George, Jim, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Christie's done everything he can do and not had any success as far as clean punches are concerned. But he shouldn't really do anything else. If he was losing, if he was behind in points, I would say then do something reckless, but he's winning it by a mile. He'll just have to keep doing what he's doing, either settle for a points win, or hope maybe one of the big bombs he's throwing will get through.
Yeah, he's the sort of fighter that could bring a good punch out of the bag in the last minute of any contest, really, but I must say, I agree with you, it's been very unlikely in this contest. He's always riding away from the punches, the American. There he is, close up then of Adam George. It's a long way from home for him, but he's got an old pro fighter's heart, isn't he? That one. Just pack the old bag and let's get on the bus or the plane and we'll fight anybody. Oops, he wants that back in. It's a double gun shield, top and bottom by the look of it. Wants it the other way around. Round 8. Well, at a recent press conference, Christie was saying you're going to see something new from me this season. He's always very good at saying those things, and I must say in the past he's produced a good share of them, very exciting stuff. But he's just realising that sometimes you have to go the full distance in the fight game to learn the trade. And he's done it already this season with Hunter Clay, the African, who's a very slippery character indeed, rather similar to Adam George, but not as good, I don't think. He countered well there. He allowed Adam George to come at him, Christie, and just pulled away and countered well. Signs of frustration with Christie, Jim? What do you think?
Yeah, well, I think he feels he's done everything, he's tried everything he knows, and it's not working. He seems to land his best punches when he manages to draw George towards him and counters George's leads. But there's not been so many leads coming his way. But it is time to try something else, but it's difficult to say what. Maybe backpedal and see if he can bring George on to him, draw a lead, and then put some power into his counter punches. But really a very frustrating opponent.
As I say, the referee's kept well away from him, let them get on with it all right. The first signs of Christie getting on top is getting good encouragement from the crowd. I suspect quite a few of the lads have driven down on the M1, if they weren't held up still, to support him, because Hemel Hempstead just off the M1. Signs of almost desperation really coming from the Americans' cornermen and the manager's wife as well. Come on, give us one round, let's go. So always the big cheer when the rounds lady gets in there. I'm not surprised. Didn't often you get the page 3 girls carrying the rounds, is it? There you go. She's regularly now with the Frank Warren Promotions and the Oxley Papers sponsors. I actually think they run out of words actually in Adam George's corner now. But he knows really, unless he does something really desperate in these rounds, he hasn't got much chance of getting in position.
Check it out. Round 9.
So, 9th round then. And pattern as before, or is it? Because maybe Christie knows with 2 to go he can unload a bit now. He's not going to get tired, surely, because he's boxed at his own pace all the time. Very fit, very mobile.
Thumbs out.
Come on, work. Come on, work. Work right back.
Jim, as you say, when he gets back to the corner, it must be awkward for Christie's cornermen to say, what else can we tell you? Because you're doing everything right, but it's just not coming up in terms of, well, I mean, he can't win a fight more clearly and surely than he's winning this, but maybe we're expecting too much from him to turn this fellow over. As I said right at the off, he trades a bit on durability.
Yeah, well, I've started thinking about George now. If George wants to win this fight, he's going to have to go at Christie. He's certainly doing it now. But the only hope George has of winning this afternoon is to score a knockout. And the only way he's going to do that is to push himself forward and take the fight to Christie. He's been doing that in short bursts in this round. I don't know if he can sustain that or not. It may make for a better fight if he does.
There again, the right hand came in, but Christie George just pulling back from it. He feels the ropes and he knows how to lean across them there. The new 4-rope safety rings that this promotion is using saves the boxers falling out and less chance of injury, etc. Very good idea. And it was brought in originally by the medical commissions of the boxing game, more or less around the world now. Well, he's not short of support, Errol. The world and his brother here seems to be trying to tell him what to do and how to win. Oh, yes, good round now for Christie. He got nearer with the right hand there to George's jaw. And it looks as though he's got him a bit. But too late in the round to follow that up. One to go. So they'll have to pull this fella together for the last round now, won't they?
Can't do no better, huh?
Let's have a look at some replay of that, Jim.
Christie finished that round very well, a bit more success. I think he's going to have to try to get closer. Instead of using the big, long, straight punches, which he's been doing most of the afternoon, he's going to have to get closer and try some hooks. You can see when he gets inside, he has chances to throw the shorter hooks, but he's had no success whatsoever with the long punches. So I hope in the last round he gets a bit closer and maybe try some lefts and right hooks.
So the face of a man who looks as though he's been around a long time in a game, although he's only 24 years old.
Second out.
They come up with these all the time in America, almost conveyor belt guys like this. Round 10 then, the final round between Errol Christie and Adam George. A very confident performance by Christie, but in many ways for him certainly it must have been a bit frustrating. But the form book did indicate that he would be in there for a while, Adam George, substitute or not, having given Prince Rodney all the trouble he could handle in Cardiff. Managers, of course, Jim, always put these things down to good experience, and in many ways it must be for Christie. Why should he be fancied to knock this fellow over? And I suppose in the long run it'll turn out that way, but maybe it's because we've come to expect so much from him that anything short of his greatest we think is ordinary.
Yeah, well, we're a bit severe on Christie. When he was knocking people over in 1 and 2 rounds, we criticised the opposition for not being good enough, not being strong enough. And then when the fights go into the last round, we're saying, why is he not knocking them over? I mean, I'm not surprised, but we've said all the way through George is very capable. a real good survivor, and he's managed it again today. A lopsided win for Christie, and a good workout for him, but one he'll probably want to forget.
I've certainly been impressed by Christie's work rate, Jim. He's never faltered, has he? He's always got on with it.
Yeah, he's certainly in good shape. I thought part of his problems against Kaler, he weighed in 11 stone 4 against Kaler, and I thought he looked very drained, as though the occasion had drained him. And when I saw he was 11 stone 4 today, I was wondering if we were going to see the same, but he looks very fit and very strong. So he is a true middleweight without problems. And as I say, this is a good workout to get behind you.
So there's the countdown clock then for the end of the contest. And the referee can in fact give the decision right away, of course, without having to wait for any judges' cards. So the man from Louisiana came to survive, and he's done it. And Roland Dakin just waits for the formality, surely, of Christie to take out the gum shield. And Christie's, meanwhile, is going over to Adam George's cornerman. It's a nice sporting touch, of course, but I suppose he knows clearly that he's won the contest and he can bide his time. And now the referee raises his hand for the formality of a 10 rounds points win. There's a little bit of disappointment, surely, on the face there.
Yeah.
So let's have a word then, Christie, with Gary Newbon.
Errol, how do you assess that? Are you content with an easy points win, a patient one, or are you frustrated you couldn't knock him out?
I'm a very frustrated fighter. I mean, right now I train for a southpaw, and this man came in, proved even tricky. And I was training for a southpaw, and that's just the way it worked out. I went the distance, which, by the way, is a good thing. Although I didn't go too well, but we can do better next time.
You can't win with us, you know. We criticise your opponents if you bang them over in 2 rounds, and then we can't wonder why you don't knock them out when you go the distance.
Well, maybe punching power's gone. Maybe I don't work hard enough, as they're saying in the corner. But it's one of them things. I mean, every time I went to throw a punch, he was off like a bite. So, you know, it's just one of them things.
Were they saying in the corner you weren't working hard enough?
They said I would go forward, but every time I went forward, as you can see, he was very tricky. He's a runner. He's there to survive. I mean, Prince Rodney tried, and he lost the fight, but it's one of them things. I mean, Prince on the night would have probably destroyed him. But, as I can say, it's just one of them things.
Everybody finds you a very exciting boxer most of the time, Errol. Do you wish now that you'd had more opponents like that, where you could learn than some of the earlier ones you've had?
Yeah, I think that's where where the bad side of me shows. Distance fights. I'm only too happy to go 10 and see what it's like. And I know I can do it, but a lot of hard work needs to come with it.
A lot of people said you were dead at the weight at 11-4 when you met Kaler and lost, but you didn't look that here this afternoon.
Yeah, but Gary, as you know, there was more to it than making the weight. I mean, making the weight is no problem. With Kaler, there was a few problems which I won't commentate on because it's not the right time. When the time comes, then I will let everybody know, because my Coventry reporter has been on to me to find out what's been happening.
Can I just say what I know about it? I think it was your nose, wasn't it? You had a nose operation?
Well, I'm not saying anything, but all I know is that night, had I have told my trainers and my manager that I was injured, then they would have pulled me out. But it's one of them fights where, as you know, the media built it up, and I couldn't go nowhere. I was always on the move. And I just wanted to get out of there.
What are you going to do? Because your manager's pulled you out of the British title fight now. You're on the eliminators.
Because really, the point is now I'm a little bit behind, and I've got to catch up with a lot of work. And we're going to go for that.
Okay. Well, it was a good win in the end, wasn't it? An easy win.
I wouldn't say it was easy. I had to work hard, and before I've normally made it
easy as far as points concerned. You wiped up there.
Yeah, but I'd just like to say hello and wish John Fashion the best of luck today, and wish Lloyd Hannigan, who's fighting on the 27th, the best of luck, and all the other fighters that are going through. Wish them the best of luck. Thanks
a lot, Errol. Thank you.